Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Siemens tutorial, Market Access to North America. My name is Maximilian Crahan. I am a technical consultant for North American safety standards concerning electrical equipment of industry machinery. I have received many questions from electrical engineers and machine builders all over the world, who need to design their equipment for the American market. This tutorial will highlight important requirements and conditions for a successful access to the North American market. What is the most important topic for electrical engineers who want to design electrical equipment for industrial applications? Every part of it must be safe. Operational or maintenance personnel may not be harmed, and risk of endangerments, like fire, caused by electrical equipment, must be reduced to a minimum. How to make electrical equipment safe? First of all, compliance with all the relevant safety standards in North America, which are accepted by the authorities, is a must. Secondly, we have to select components which are successfully certified by one of the accredited testing laboratories. Let's start with the USA. The probably most well-known organizations which publish safety standards in USA for electrical equipment is UL and the NFPA. UL stands for Underwriters Laboratories, and NFPA stands for National Fire Protection Agency. All components need to be tested and certified by one of these accredited NRTLs. That stands for National Recognized Testing Laboratories. Besides UL, there are also other testing labs. All these NRTLs are accredited by the OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is part of the US government. Please note, not every NRTL is accredited to certified electrical equipment in compliance with every possible electrical standard. In Canada, all the important standards for electrical equipment are published by the CSA Group. CSA stands for Canadian Standards Association. Comparable to the NRTL in USA, the accredited tested laboratories in Canada are named Certification Organization, which are accredited by the SCC, the Standard Council of Canada. The safety philosophies of USA and Canada are pretty similar. This means if you have practical experience with the US standards, it will certainly be a big help to understand and apply successfully the Canadian codes and standards too. Nevertheless, based on my own experience, there's a growing preferences in both markets to refer to and require the respective national standards and codes for the electrical equipment of industry machinery. Therefore, my recommendation is to use the CSA codes and standards for the Canadian market and the NFPA codes and UL standards for the US. To present you now the relevant codes and standards for the US market, let me begin with the National Electrical Code, also better known as NEC, which is published by the NFPA on a regular 3-year cycle. This code contains the fundamental principles and requirements for electrical installation. The NEC refers to further details to other standards when it comes to the industry control panel and industry machinery. The NEC refers with an information note in Chapter 409 to the UL 508A, the standard for industry control panels, and in the chapter 670 to the NFP 79, the standard for industrial machinery. In all these standards, you will find many component requirements. These components used in the industry control panel and industrial machinery have to be certified and listed by one of the NRTLs for the intended use. So please ensure that the components you want to select is tested and listed for the intended use. The same philosophy can be found in Canada, but of course with CSA codes and standards. Comparable to the NEC in the US, the fundamental principles and requirements for electrical installation are covered in the CEC, the Canadian Electrical Code. And similar to the NEC refers in the Appendix A to the CSA standard number 286 for industrial control panels and to the CSA standard number 301 for the industrial machinery. However, not with an information note like in the NEC, but with the normative references, which means compliance with these standards is mandatory to comply with the code. Regarding component requirements, it is also very comparable to the philosophy in USA. Components used for electrical equipment of machines and industrial control panels have to be certified and listed by an accredited certification organization according to the intended use and hence according to the relevant product standards. Conclusion: if you need to design a panel which is for the complete North American market, then select only components which are certified in compliance with the Canadian and the US standard. The picture here intends to show the applicable codes and standards for the electrical equipment in an industrial factory in the USA or Canada. The electrical installation has to be in the US in compliance with the NEC and in Canada in compliance with the CEC. The electrical equipment of the entire industrial machinery shall be designed in USA accordingly to the NFP 79 and for Canada accordingly to the CSA number 301. For the construction and design of the industrial control panels in the US, the UL 508A, and in Canada for the CSA number 286 are the applicable standards for the electrical safety. Now, let me talk now about another specialty in North America. Before the electrical equipment gets in operation, it must be approved by the authority having jurisdiction, the AHJ. The AHJ is an independent authority, in many cases assigned to the local community, and is responsible to check whether the equipment is safe for operation. The scope of the AHJ is to check that the new electrical equipment in the building is safe and complies to all the safety standards we have talked about. If the AHJ agrees to your design, the commissioning under electrical power can begin and everything is okay. If he disagrees, all his objections need to be clarified first before the commissioning can start. A great help for the AHJ is a previous investigation by an NRTL. Every third-party label which can be provided to the AHJ is beneficial and makes the approval process by the AHJ much easier and faster. Here you see an overview of all NRTLs including their labels and contact addresses for the US market. You find all this information if you click here on that link on the OSHA homepage. For the Canadian market, you find the certification organizations on the website of the Standards Council of Canada, better known as SCC. In the workshops and trainings, I have been often asked, what are the criteria and the definition of an industrial control panel? Are small electronic boxes with low voltage and low current or low electrical power also defined and considered as an industrial control panel? And subsequently, does the UL 508A needs to be applied? So, let's have a look at the NEC. In the definition chapter 100, an industrial control panel is per definition an assembly of two or more power circuit components, like variable speed drives, fuses, and so on. But not only two power circuit components may define an industrial control panel. Even the installation of two or more control circuit components assembled and wired on a mounting plate or in an enclosure is considered already as an industrial control panel. As an example, you see here on top of our control panel a lot of components like a PSU, an ET200, circuit breaker, and a door locking device is a part of a control circuit. Last but not least, of course, a combination of a power circuit component together with a control circuit component, if inside a little enclosure, independent of the voltage or power, is per definition already an industrial control panel. All the right applicable standards for these will be the UL 508A in the USA and the CSA number 286 in Canada. Let me summarize. It is important first to apply the relevant applicable standards. Second, to select the proper certified and listed component. Third, to size the equipment according to the construction rules. Fourth, to create a completely technical documentation. For the sake of simplicity, we have to develop a software tool named Control Panel Design as a part of the TIA selection tool. This engineering tool is a great help for designing the electrical equipment in accordance with the requirements in the NEC, the UL 508A and the NFP 79 for industrial control panels and industrial machinery. On our webpage, siemens.com/controlpanel/CPD, you will find a download link for the cost-free installation of the TIA selection tool. After installation, go directly into the project view and within the project navigation, click on the main circuit for the fastest access. In the basic view, you need to choose whether you want to design according US or according IEC standards. To continue with the US standards, click here on the new US InFeed button. Now, you may start with the smart software features for designing in a very effective way and based on drop-down menus for electrical equipment. To name a few, choose the typical US INFI voltage, the horsepower rating and standard values of motor loads, the conductor sizes in American wire gauge and KC mil related to their ampacity, or the right selection and sizing of all tested components for the intended use. All this by using the typical ANSI symbols in the US wire diagram, including all necessary documentation. Being a consultant for North American standards for so many years, I can hardly imagine anymore how to make all my trainings and workshops without this effective software tool. And the best about it, the engineering tool is free of charge. Even more helpful information about market access to North America and industrial control panels overall can be found on our websites. Benefits from tutorial, webinars, white paper, tips and tricks, and much, much more. Thank you now for your attention. Now it's time to say goodbye.